right, everyone. This is Tim and Tom with On the Line. I don't know who the hell we are. NFL Talk from across the pond and back. We had some technical difficulties. We had some issues, but you know what? We are back with a vengeance. Tim, Dom, NFL Talk, across the pond and back. We just lost 22 minutes, Dom. We did go on Twitter for a little live on Twitter. I don't know if we should recap the Giant fiasco. I think we should definitely recap the stripper pole. But I think we're just going to skip the Giant game because evidently the Giants are so horrid. They basically just blew up our studio.
I mean, there is nothing that team can't destroy. It turns out they can flatline my mic. They can do everything. They can break my ceiling, hence the stripper pole, you know. But there we go. Nothing they can't make worse.
I was just letting you go after stripper pole because I just assumed you were going to go somewhere else and just get yourself in trouble. So that's why I was quiet.
It's personal growth. This is development. This is me thinking before I speak.
Oh, that's something new. I should try.
I know. Don't get used to it because I'm sure I'll be right back out to spouting nonsense very shortly.
I should try doing that sometime. We briefly talked about the Giant game. If you want to hear about the Giant game, go on Twitter and online Big Blue 1. You can see the preview about the Giant game. I wanted to jump into the game. It was the first game I wanted to talk about is the Dolphins and the Jags. Because that was basically in your neck of the woods. And the Jags kind of shocked the Dolphins with that last second field goal to take the game 23-20. They basically hired a kid off the street to go out and kick for him this week. And you know, it's a little, may I have some more, please? You know, that's what I kind of felt when I said they would just sign them off the street. So poor Oliver got his twist and he made his field goal. Dom, what was the buzz for this game with the Clash of the Titans? So now both 1-5.
I mean, we've had some games, haven't we? Wow.
Yeah, you've had some winners.
Jets followed by Dolphins against the Jags. Sorry, the Jaguars. Let me bring some class to proceedings.
Yeah, someone needs to.
Yeah, I am very close to royalty in terms of, I live like many miles away from them and occasionally get to walk past the gates. That sort of close.
And that's as close as Dom can get.
Yeah, as close as I'm allowed. What was the question? Oh, yes, Jags. That was
there was a question.
Yes.
There was a question.
Yeah, there was a statement. I mean, I missed most of the game because someone made me come on YouTube live during the middle of it. But
that's right. That would be me.
that would be you. But no, I mean, look, it wasn't a great game. But that said, that kid off the street kicked their first field goal of a season, by the way.
Yeah,
and has now won the job because Lambeau has been let go.
Yeah. I mean, I would let him go too.
I mean, his record this season was great. I mean, having said that, though, I do believe he is now the kicker of the Green Bay Packers.
He is. I did not check that. I did not.
No, I mean, I've made it up, but I'm assuming.
You made
their kicking performance on week 5.
Dom. I don't think that was nice. I don't think
it makes sense. His name's Lambeau. He can play at Lambeau Field and he can kick field goals or not because the Packers also don't like kicking field goals for them.
Don't think that was nice at all. I'm not happy. I'm not happy with you right now. I mean, but I know that
because my mic's now working. Presume you preferred it when my mic wasn't working.
I did like it when you weren't around. Into your well thought out insight and point. I mean, you guys really have gotten some clunkers. I mean, coming over. I mean, does that put
trying to kill the international game? This is the way to do it.
Well, that's what I was saying. Does this put a damper on any of the football that's there, or is it just something that just you guys just want to have football, and it's in the States we say even bad pizza is still good pizza.
Yeah, no, we literally both games were sell out. Couldn't get a ticket. Like, I mean, it's a different sport, but I mean, we can have for European football. When England play, they can play San Marino, which is essentially like the Bucks playing against, your under 10s of the local high school side. I mean, it's chalk and cheese in terms of ability. And they still get 60, 70,000 people in an 80,000 seat stadium. Generally speaking, we love sport in this country and the NFL comes, a few times a year. We'll sell it out. You could send anyone over. We'll sell it out. Perhaps that's why we got the games we got. But the Jags come every year. The Dolphins should have been good this year. On paper, that should have been a game between two teams with out coming into it with 1-4 and 0-4 records, or 0-5 records. Sorry, right. I should say, coming in. But it wasn't a great game. But the Jags, that was a great kick under pressure right at the end. Really good kick.
Is the Duke of Funk okay?
Yeah. Just
because you're turning bright red.
I know. I tried to talk and breathe at the same time, and it's ended up with me choking.
Well, talking and breathing and drinking at the same time, probably not a good combination.
My wife tells me I'm good at multitasking because I can watch the telly and ignore it at the same time. But it turns out that's it. That's the extent of my multitasking.
Well, you know what, Dom? You are my multitasker. Dom,
but, there you go.
Dom, you Jerry Maguire, quoting Jerry Maguire, you complete me.
That's a horrible thought.
Coming from the man with the stripper pole in his house.
But did Mr. Wright, speaking of completing people, did Mr. Wright save Urban's job though this week?
I don't think they were ever going to get rid of him this early. They were gonna ride this season out with him, so I don't think he was in danger unless he was in the pub grinding up on someone in overseas. I think that would have been an issue.
We discussed it on Sunday. He came round. I couldn't get a train up there, but he kindly came down. He used the pole. It was great. We had fun.
It's all good. I want to go to another Clash of the Titans games because we've had some Clash of the Titans games here. It's the Indianapolis Colts against the Houston Texans, 31-3. And now the Texans are 1-5 and 2-4 for the Colts. It was nice to see Carson Wentz do something and stay upright. He only was 11 for 20 for 223 yards, but he had the 2 touchdowns. He had some nice big plays. Again, a game I don't want to spend a lot of time on because it was a stinker. You had David Mills. You had a David Mills starting at quarterback, 29 to 43 for 243. Put up 3 points. They're just as bad as the Giants, if not worse, which is hard to say. You know what, Tom? I don't even want you to comment on the game.
No, I have one comment to make on this game. Have you seen the Texans' next 2 games? I mean, they are the Cardinals and the Rams. I mean, how hard can it be for them?
I see 2-0 in their future.
Yeah. If you put it in the mirror, you see what I did there.
Or drive behind it. But wait, on the UK, wouldn't that be on the left side of the road?
We drive on the left side of the road, which you will find is the right side of the road, apart from the fact that almost no other country drives on that side of the road. But there is a country somewhere in the world that purchased a whole load of buses off us. I think it might be Burma, which is now Myanmar. And when you get off the bus, you end up getting out into traffic because they bought the buses from us and they drive
on the wrong side of the road.
I could be wrong on the country, but
you know what's funny, Dom? We went from stripper poles to buses. And Dom just killed the show. Is there anything you'd like to talk about? How about calculators?
I can talk about calculators if you want. Abacus is a really interesting ways of calculating.
Oh, my goodness. We're going to jump into the Bengals and the Lions because we're going through the I don't care games. I only want to do this game because, of course, it was 34-11, the Bengals beating up on the Lions. But surprisingly, and a lot of people don't realize this, the Bengals are 4-2.
They are 4-2.
I mean, shocking as that is, they are 4-2. Any thoughts on the wackiness of that?
How?
They beat bad teams.
I mean, to be fair, they've beaten teams that you would probably look at the start of the season and think they're winning at least 3 of them. They've beaten teams they probably should. Jamar Chase is playing well. We know they got a quarterback in Burrow. I did worry about him start this season coming back from the injury.
You did.
Not his talent. It was how would he recover from the injury? Because it's mental as much as physical. But he's always had the talent. I don't think I questioned his talent. It was how he recovered from the injury. But he's played really well. He's got Jamar Chase, and if I'm honest with you, I thought they should have gone for a tackle to keep Burrow upright. But they're throwing to him. Their future needs to be to build that line now.
Yep.
That's what they need to do. But they're 4-2. I don't think they're going to keep that sort of 66% win ratio going to the end of the season. But they're 4-2. They deserve to be in. They're playing well. And I bet Jared Goff wish he'd played slightly better in LA or had a trade clause in his contract because I'm not sure he wants to be in Detroit right now.
No. And Jamar Chase, he had all the oopsies and the whoopsies and the drops in preseason. And everyone was concerned about him. And I said, you know what? It's preseason. He's going to get it straight. And the kid has gotten it straight. I mean, him, Devontae Smith they are players. And I believe both of them are going to be special.
Yeah, I mean, I had my doubts on Smith, but it was a feeling rather than a talent issue with Smith. You know, the talent was obviously there in college. It was just a feeling. There was no, I said it at the time, there was no rational reason I could give you why I thought Smith might struggle. It was just one of those feelings. But yeah, and I think Jalen Waddle will come good in Miami as well. I think the three receivers that came out will all three be very good receivers in the league. But Jamar Chase, yeah, he's got over his drops. If he could come to the Giants and teach our guys how to not drop the ball, that would be great. That
would be helpful.
Although actually, tell you what though, one of the takeaways, just going back to Jacksonville quickly, how many times did their receivers drop the ball from Trevor Lawrence?
Oh, they've been dropping the ball. They've been dropping the ball.
They've been dropping the ball all season.
It's nothing. It's nothing new. I mean, they've had the oopsies all season long. I mean, it's just crazy. But let's jump into your favorite guy, Big Ben. Steelers take it 23-20 over the non-Russell Wilson team, the venerable Geno Smith, who everyone will remember for replacing Eli Manning and breaking his consecutive streak of non-injury starts. Not bitter about that at all. The Steelers pulled us.
I think it's nice to know you got over it.
I've gotten over it. Not
because it was definitely his fault that he took over, right? I mean,
I've gotten over it. I've gotten over it. I'm not going to say I haven't gotten over it, but I've gotten over it. I mean, this was a game that was marred. It was a good game. It was marred at the end by the fumble, which the Steelers recovered. I think it's funny though. The Steelers, before they kicked the winning field goal, they had 3 plays for -3 yards. I mean, literally. I mean, I just thought that was kind of funny. But it's a game that Big Ben hung in there. I think we both kind of hung him out to dry the last 2 weeks prior, and he's had 2 good games in a row. Was Geno Smith the reason why they lost? No, Geno Smith played fairly well. 23 of 32 for 209 for 1 touchdown. Was Big Ben the reason why they won? No, but he was 29 of 40 for 229 and a touchdown. Najee Harris had a good game finally. Not a great game, but still did have 81 yards rushing.
2 weeks running, he's touched the ball and they've won.
Yep, and you know what? But he did have 6 catches for 46 yards in that big touchdown. Yeah. So, I mean, I think some people, Dom the Duke of Funk, may have written off the Steelers a little early. They are now 3-3. The Seahawks are now 2-4. I mean, any thoughts of how this game played out?
You feel for Geno with the fumble there. The Seahawks just
I don't feel for him.
They can't. Yeah, because you're not bitter at all.
No, I'm not bitter at all.
But no, I mean, it's one of those games where you look at it and go, the Seahawks defense got a little bit better, but they are horrific this year. Not quite as bad as ours or the Texans or the Chiefs, but they've not been brilliant this year. Tyler Lockett can't score a touchdown, so they're struggling on offense. They've lost Russell Wilson, and we said before the start of the season we thought they were a franchise that were in need of a bit of a refresh, and that they would finish bottom of that division this year, and that's where they are. I think it's where they're going to stay unless the 49ers' injury crisis continues, and gets worse. Then maybe they'll sneak past them. So it's no surprise there. I thought this was a close game. And the Steelers, I still think this is Ben. I still don't think he's got it. I think if you put a different quarterback in there, I don't even think you need to have an elite quarterback in there. I think you could have, say, Baker Mayfield, who I don't think is elite, would probably move the chain slightly more there. I think the defense is still legit. I think they'd be a 500 team, and I think they'd be a 500 team because the line is slightly weaker than it was, and Ben Roethlisberger just can't do it as well as he can. Having said that, though, you had to give him his dues because I'm just looking this up. That is his 22nd straight game of throwing at least 1 passing touchdown. Yeah, which is the longest active streak. But that also tells you that they're not running the ball enough as well. No. But they've started to in the last couple of weeks, taking the pressure off Big Ben, and that's why they're winning the games. They're not winning. Ben Roethlisberger, you have to manage his workload, and they're starting to do that, and that might just eat them out towards that 500. That is where I thought they would be this season. obviously, unless they draw again, they can't be exactly 500. But it was a close game.
Yeah, it was. It was
both
actually
sides
a good
needed that
game.
win. Both sides needed that win.
Yep, I actually enjoyed watching that game. It was a good game. All right, let's jump into our next game, and that's going to be the Carolina Panthers against the Minnesota Vikings. Good game. I mean, 34-28. I think the Panthers are kind of crashing down to earth a little bit. You had good performances by both Dalvin Cook and Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins 33 for 48 for 373 and 3 touchdowns. Dalvin Cook 29 carries, 140 yards. Christian McCaffrey was out of this game. Sam Darnold to me is kind of crashing back down to earth. Was a 17 of 41 for 207, 1 touchdown and 1 interception, but he did put up 28 points. What was your thought process on this game? Is Carolina the pretender that we always talk about? Is Minnesota finally turning that corner with the venerable Dalvin Tomlinson on the roster? Well, what's going on, Dom?
Well, for me, the first half, as we've gone from Big Ben, the first half in that game looked dull. So that, for anyone that doesn't know, is a homage to the Big Clock in London, in England. Takes a nice segue from Big Ben, and I enjoyed it even if no one else did.
Okay, Dom, I've been waiting for this all day.
Yeah.
and this is what I got.
That's what you got. But I enjoyed myself, and that is the main thing. And
that's all that matters.
No one else will enjoy it, but I will, and that's the main thing. Luke might as well, because there was a reference there to one of our favorite TV shows as well. So 2 people will enjoy this, one of which is on the stream.
And that'll make up for the 15 viewers we just lost.
Just 15. Wow. Okay, I'll take it. I enjoyed myself, and we only lost 15 viewers. Great. Let's move on.
This game.
You asked some very good questions, and I've got a question in return for you.
Sure.
But Donald, I think I said last week, I don't think he's lost it. He's still putting up points. I think he's trying to do a little bit too much without Christian McCaffrey. I think he needs to relax a little bit.
Right.
But he is one of those quarterbacks, and there are plenty of them around the league. I mentioned one just now, Baker Mayfield, as another one that does need some pieces around them if they are going to really win games. They will not consistently win games on their own for me. And I think that's where he is, but I think he is a good enough quarterback to be a franchise quarterback, not a top level one. But they need McCaffrey back. And I said last week, I thought that 3-0, I do think that they're a potential playoff team. They'd be close to that. I thought 3-0 was probably a bit of it's one of those ones where I was getting a bit smug because I called it and they went 3-0. But in my heart of hearts, they're not going to continue to keep doing this. But I don't necessarily think they're a 3-3 team. I felt that they would win 2 out of the next 3, and they had to win 2 out of the next 3. They've lost the first one. But the next 2, if I remember rightly, and I'm just trying to check it, but I can't quite remember. Yeah, it's the Giants and the Falcons are the next 2.
Yeah.
They're perfectly winnable games, and suddenly there's 5-3, and still in with that playoff shout, and they get McCaffrey back, and I think the offense goes to a new level. They're sort of struggling without him. But I think Darnold then improves with McCaffrey, and McCaffrey, we all know what McCaffrey can do if he can stay healthy. But you also pointed out Kirk Cousins there, who had a very good game. What are your views on him? Because he's someone that sort of seems to split opinion.
I like Kirk Cousins, and I think we've had this conversation that I would have if the Giants ever traded for Kirk Cousins, I would be all in for that. I mean, Kirk Cousins.
Davis Mills at this point.
Well, I'm not going to go fucking crazy. Let's not go nutty. But Kirk Cousins, man, he's been a guy, he had a weird start to his career. He came in to the league the same time when they drafted RG3. RG3, of course, played extensively for 2012 to 2013. Cousins got a shot in 14, never relinquished a job in 15, went to the Vikings in 18 and's been there ever since. And he's thrown for 4,000. The guy's thrown for 4,000 yards. I think 6 or 7 times, and he's thrown for at least 20 touchdowns at least. I think and 30 touchdowns. I know he's thrown twice. He's thrown once for 35 and once for 30. But he's also thrown at least 25 to 29 touchdowns with limited interceptions over his entire career. I think his highest interception total was 13, and that was last year. And he's been throwing the ball 500-600 times a game. Good quarterback, accurate quarterback. He completes anywhere between 69 to 70% of his passes. I'm cursing too much there. Sign me up for that.
Yeah, he's one of those ones, isn't he? He's a top end quarterback, but one of those ones that as soon as the pressure comes on, or he's got the big game.
Yeah, but they said the same thing. They said the same thing about Peyton Manning.
But I think there's also an element there of what is around him as well. You have to sometimes judge that, or who you're playing against. And I do wonder, and I haven't got him in front of me, how much of that is. Do you know what? That is true. Those are the stats. You look at it, and that's. But that doesn't always tell you the story. You know, sometimes you are just playing a better team, and it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. I think he's a perfectly capable quarterback.
His defense in Minnesota his defense in Minnesota over the years has let him down.
Yeah, and probably the roster right now is not going to help him get to the promised land either.
No, and I don't think so. But I want to go on to another phenomenal quarterback, a quarterback that is the anti Daniel Jones. He came in the same draft. He is now a quarterback god. He's going to be on the Mount Rushmore because you know what? I love this team. You hate this team. Or I shouldn't say you hate this team. You just don't believe in this team. And of course, it's the Arizona Cardinals versus the Cleveland Browns. 37-14 Arizona. My boy, Kyler Murray, 4 touchdowns, 20 of 30, 229, 4 touchdowns in the air. You even got James Conner from the Terminator, 71 yards and 16 carries. You had a full complement. Colt McCoy even came and ran the ball 3 times. You got what's his Rondale Moore, who didn't really have a big game, but he's exciting. You got DeAndre Hopkins. AJ Green had a big game. You got Christian Kirk. You got Chase Edmonds. You got J.J. Watt in there. You got an old our old buddy Marcus Gold. I miss Marcus Gold. I didn't know why the Giants ever get rid of him. Another 2 sacks. How can you not love this team, Dom?
And of course, they signed a tight end this week.
They traded for Zach Ertz
next week.
Yep, they traded for Zach Ertz. He's going to play this week.
You're right. The running backs ran for over 100 yards, and that's the running backs. That's not just Kyler Murray running for 100 yards.
So tell me how much you hate this team.
And Chandler Jones didn't play this week, and they beat the Browns. A beaten up Browns, but
they still beat the Browns.
It's a next man up league, and let's be honest with you, this is the second best roster in the NFL. They were missing their running back, but their second running back is also elite.
Yeah,
they were missing an elite wide receiver. Oh no, they got 2 more.
Yeah.
They still had 3 very good offensive linemen on the pitch. This is a very good roster still. Yes, it's missing some pieces, and it goes back to I think the Browns, they have the roster to go far in the playoffs. And I said I didn't think they were.
Wait! Back up a second. You just said this is a very good roster for the Cardinals. What happened to it being old?
I wasn't talking about them. I was talking about the Browns.
Oh,
I will circle back. I'm not going to ignore you.
Okay.
But the Browns are a very good roster, and I said that they can go deep in the playoffs.
Right.
But they won't win the Super Bowl because I don't think Mayfield can take them over the top. I think he's a good quarterback, but you have to win from behind, and you have to make your throws when you have to make them. And I don't necessarily think he can when everyone knows he's throwing them. I don't believe in him. That doesn't mean he can't do it, but I want to see it before I
have a question for you about Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield, Daniel Jones. Which one? You're a Giant. Who do you want leading your team?
Kyler Murray.
Well, he's not one of the choices. Baker Mayfield, Daniel Jones. Which one do you want?
I mean, you look at Mayfield's record and say on paper him, but I'm not convinced that. I think if you look at the situation in New York in the first 2 years, I'm not sure if Baker would have done that much of a better job. I would probably take Mayfield right now because you look at his record, but I don't think the difference is as vast as maybe people say it is. I think he would have probably done a better job this year with the receiving core we have this year than Jones would. So I'm going to go Mayfield, but you got to overly believe in either.
You got to remember this: Mayfield hasn't been with his full complement of receivers since he's got there. What's his name? Jarvis Landry, OBJ have only played a handful of games together. He's thrown for over 3,000 yards. He's going to throw for over 3,000 yards this season. He did have the bad rookie season where he threw for 21 interceptions, but then he followed it up with 26 touchdowns and 8 interceptions the next year. And then he's got 6 touchdowns to 3 interceptions right now, and he's thrown for over 1,400 yards. I mean, and he's got in his longest pass, I think he's like 70 something yards. I mean, those are numbers that he could probably equate over to the Giants with the skill set position players that he has. Because outside of the running game and and Jarvis Landry and a tight end, I mean, what else does he have to throw to? And his line has not been good this year or last year.
Not been great. No, I mean, for me, he's probably somewhere in around the middle of the pack quarterback, and I don't think Jones is there. I suppose the reason I was hesitating on it was like you're right about those things, but I do think the quality has probably been slightly better, and that makes it harder. And I did come down on Mayfield, but I had to talk it round to sort of see where it is.
Right.
But I just don't think he's not elite. But that doesn't mean he can't win Super Bowls. We saw Wentz and Foles win a Super Bowl in the Eagles, for instance.
Well, you've also seen Trent Dilfer win a Super Bowl. Brad Johnson won a Super Bowl. What's his name? Flacco won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I've forgotten about Joe Flacco winning a Super Bowl.
I think a lot of people forget about Joe Flacco winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah, Joe Flacco, presumably he doesn't. But yeah, I mean, this is a really good team. So I don't think you can make excuses for the Browns losing this game in the way they did. And the reason I start with the Browns there is because a lot of people are saying, well, they were beaten up. No, they are beaten up. That is correct. They are a very good roster.
It's next man up. That's to your point.
Exactly that. So therefore, you still have to give the Cardinals kudos because for several reasons. One, they won the game. You can only beat who's in front of you. Secondly, they're 6-0. They're the only team still undefeated. They are compiling a roster and they're winning without some of their players this week. Not many. They have most of the players out there, but they were missing Jones, for instance, this week. You have to give them kudos for the way they keep playing. They just have to hope that Kyler Murray stays healthy and doesn't get sort of, torn in half by someone, twice his size. But they are playing very, very well. I have to give it to you. You called them. I didn't fancy them as highly as you did. I didn't think they were going to be terrible. Let's not rewrite history. They're going to be terrible, but they are better than I thought they were going to be. I still question, because of the expectations there, what happens if they do lose one or two games. But at the moment, as I said last week, they're not losing games, and we may not see them lose one or two games in a row this season. But if they do, the pressure could come to bear because that's an organisation that really wants to win and is really putting the pressure on, which is why I said Cliff Kingsbury's on the hot seat, because if he doesn't make the playoffs, even if he went 10-7, which should make the playoffs, but even if he did, he could lose his job there because of the expectations, and that might still be there, but they're acquiring experienced heads, and that will help them if they end up in that position.
I like it. I agree. I want to jump into one of our favorite games because one of our favorite, watchers or listeners. It's going to be the Dallas Cowboys against the New England Patriots. Dallas Cowboys 35, New England Patriots 29. But before we jump into this, Andrew Thomas of the New York Giants and CJ Board are both been placed on the injury reserve. Actually, it just came through the wire right now. Andrew Thomas must sit out at least 3 games before he's eligible to return. CJ Board, of course, broke his arm, so he's not going to be playing. That does not bode well for Daniel Jones against the Panthers. But let's get into the King of the Idiots' favorite team. We all know who that is. If you've been watching the show for a while, or listening to the show for a while. 35-29 Dallas Cowboys. Man, the Dallas Cowboys are on fire at 5-1. I mean, they are. I've said this before. If they figure out their secondary, they are going to be crazy good. And you know what? They're not disproving that whatsoever. And the defense, Diggs with the big interception at the end, towards the end of the game again. I think he leads the league now with 7. I mean, it's just one of those teams that, you know what, you want to hate the Dallas Cowboys, but in some ways you hate the New England Patriots more, and you're glad to see him sitting back at 2-4, and Tom Brady is sitting there smiling smugly. Not that Mac Jones had a bad game, but he did have he had the bad interception, 15-21 for 229. King, and he also had the fumble. He lost the fumble too, but that's just a day. We don't even worry about fumbles because that's a Daniel Jones thing. That happens all the time, doesn't it? Doesn't happen with every quarterback. You fumble at least 39 times. It happens
to everyone at least 10 times a game.
That's what I see every week. At least 10 times a game.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's part of the game. Nothing to see here.
Dallas Cowboys had no right winning this game. To be honest, let's be honest. Who didn't think this was lost for the Cowboys? And then it goes into overtime after 5 plays. Patriots punt, and what do the Dallas Cowboys do? And their wide receivers were gassed. CeeDee Lamb down the sidelines. That's the end of that. 35 yards.
It wasn't a bad end to the game, was it?
That was a great game. I actually enjoyed watching the game.
Do you know what? On the Cowboys, this is a game they'd have lost last year or the year before, and they won it. And that's not because the Patriots were better 2, 3, 4 years ago. That's because the Cowboys mentally, I think, are in a place where they believe they can get over the hump and they can win these games, and they did. You know, they get the pick six, they score. Kudos to Jones. He came back. He throws it, gets them back in the lead. And they were down with not long left on the clock, and they still managed to go and take it to overtime. I don't think they'd have done that. They've got the talent to do that. We all know they've got the talent to do that. But they did it, and they had to do it. And they are a very good team. The question mark coming in was what will the defense do this year? Yeah. Because it was horrid last year, despite having really good talent in places on it. But they've seemed to have got it together this year, and whether that's McCarthy or Quinn or whoever,
I think it's Dan Quinn.
I think that probably is right. He could be a one and done and straight back in a head coach. Maybe not, but he's probably in the conversation right now if they continue for that, because there will be some vacancies coming up. But I'm surprised the Patriots are 2-4. I thought they'd probably be 2-4, 2-5. I can't remember anyway.
2-4
over there. 2-4, yeah. I thought they might be 3-3, but especially having had 4 home games, I think now. But they do always start slowly. I still think they'll be fine, but they are now under pressure now to get one of those wildcard spots because they've lost too many.
Those are the dogs out there. Evidently, we have a package.
Yeah, I know.
Or a pack of wolves are attacking that house. I don't know which one.
Are we back in the Browns? Or are we back in the dog pound?
I think a pack of wolves may be attacking the house. I don't know.
Is that a hint to the Washington No Names as new name for next year?
That would be the Red Dogs.
The first capital football team. Other financial service companies are available. But the Pats, they've not started well, but this was a great game. That's going to be a real kicker to have lost that from where they lost it.
Yeah,
real kicker. And Belichick's going to have to pick them up now and see where they go. I don't know who they've got next, but. It's starting to become must-win territory. I think slipping to 2-5 becomes a real issue for them.
Yeah, it really has, and this leads into a great segue for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Philadelphia Eagles. 28-22, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay almost tried to give this game away with the 8 points towards the end of the game, but you know what? I don't think it was a game that was ever in doubt. It was 28-22 with I think 3 minutes left. When Jalen Hurts had that, he went off tackle right for the 2 yards and the big touchdown. But Tom Brady, 5-1, he's got his guys rolling. I mean, was it a great Brady-esque game? 34-42 for 297, 2 touchdowns and interception. No, but Leonard Fournette kind of helped control the clock with his 22 carries for 81 yards and 2 touchdowns. Antonio Brown had a nice game. It's you know what, this Tampa team. You have a feeling they're going to repeat or at least go to the Super Bowl because they have all the pieces back in place. I know they're beating up on a Philadelphia team, but Philadelphia, who's 2-4, has played hard and has played well this season. So, I mean, I never thought I would say that about Philadelphia. I thought Philadelphia was going to win 2 games all year, and then 6 games in, they've already won 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, Philadelphia have really fought hard. They've stayed in games. They fought hard. I don't think this was as close. They don't think it's as close. I don't think this game was as close as the scoreline suggests. I think you're probably right on Tampa. They're certainly in they'd be your NFC shout right now because you look at the West and you think they're probably going to beat each other up a little bit. Mm-hmm. How will that fare down the stretch? The Packers are going nicely, but again, they sort of seem to crumble when it counts. So I think that's a very good, it's not one you can argue easily against. The only question now is the defense as focused as it needs to be. I still think they're going to get that right. I wouldn't be worried if I'm them. They're winning games, and they're winning games within themselves at the moment.
Ooh,
that's a worry.
Good coaching speak. We're winning games within ourselves. We're playing within ourselves. We're playing 60 minutes of hard-nosed football. We're allowing our team to find their groove and find their rhythm. We are taking what the defense puts in front of us, and God willing, we're going to go to the playoffs. more coach speak for you.
Yeah, but I'm going to have to go and watch the tape.
Oh, that's a Joe Judge. He's not a coach. That doesn't count. that doesn't really count anything. Let me see. I would jump into a couple of the games because let's see. I want to see if there's any really good games because honestly, this week has been kind of a stinker. In reference to games, the Monday night game, which I keep forgetting, we're doing this on Tuesdays now.
Well, this maybe just this week. I don't know. We can see, but I couldn't do last night. Parent teacher evening. It was blame my life. It got in the way.
So did your teacher say nice things about you?
Well, I'm going to tell you a quick story actually. Now, when I was working in my old job, we actually had some school children come and visit, and they were, I don't know, 10, and I was 20 or something. And one of the teachers tried to bring me along with them, thinking I was one of the school children. So,
I only have one question about that story. I have one question: why were these 10-year-olds in the strip club? I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering, man. I'm just wondering.
Showing them what happens if they don't work hard at school. I don't know. But yeah, there you go. So
you don't work at Harvard School, you're going to be the Hobbit stripper. I don't think that's good.
You know what? As well, actually, same job, different place. My mate was was working with me at the time, and he managed to convince everyone I was a work experience lad when I turned up as a manager on the first day.
Oh my god, that's pretty funny. That's pretty.
Yeah, I found it hilarious. It was.
Yeah, I could tell you probably did.
I took it so well.
Not that we do.
Which game are we talking about?
I don't remember because we're going to jump into the Tennessee Titans, the Monday night game. Tennessee Titans 34-31 over the Buffalo Bills. 10 unanswered points in the the fourth quarter for Tennessee to take this game. I mean, it was the Derrick Henry show. 20 carries, 142 yards, 3 touchdowns, averaged 7.2 yards a carry. I didn't think there was any way in hell Tennessee was going to come back and win this game, to be honest. Especially when they went into the fourth quarter. I thought Josh Allen played the typical Josh Allen game with 353 yards, 35 of 47, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He carried the team on the back. He lifted everyone up and said, "Come with me." And then Derrick Henry, the wrecking ball, just destroyed all of his hopes and dreams.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, the Titans in Tannehill, they've got a decent enough quarterback. They've got Derrick Henry, who will just literally run through. You could put 3 men in front of him and he'd just go, yeah, I'm going 7 yards, and you can just sort of trail along in my wake if you like. I mean, it was a phenomenal performance from Henry to win that game. The Titans, how the Titans won that game. As you say, Josh Allen played really, really well, but that's what you want to see from your quarterback.
But
if you're the Bills, you've got to be really comfortable and confident. It's a loss, but it's a loss that you can take a lot of positives out of.
Here's and like I said, even at the end of the game,
was Henry still running?
Well, no, at the end of the game, Buffalo started on their own 18. They drove 79 yards and turned the ball over on downs. Towards the end of the game. I mean, it's Josh Allen up the middle, no gain on 4th and 1.
Tried to sneak it, yeah.
Tried to sneak it in. I mean, Dom, would you have called that play? You're down 31-34.
Well, I mean, hindsight is a wonderful thing. So no, I'd have kicked the field goal and taken it to overtime because I know I'm not going to make the sneak. No, I mean, look, Josh Allen is a phenomenal quarterback. You would trust him to make that play, more often than not, and go and try and win the game from there and not put the ball back in the Titans' hands. I don't think you can get on the call. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. So I don't think I can really overly criticize for the call when you've got a quarterback of Allen's talent. So in hindsight, yeah, one call. but I can't get on him for it.
Well, my thing is it's the Riverboat Ron thing from the Giants from 2 years ago. Riverboat Ron, of course, went for the 2-point conversion, went for the win instead of going for the extra point to force it into overtime. So I mean, it's a gutsy call, but at this point in time, if you're the Bills, you kick the field goal, you have a chance of going 5-1. And
yeah, possibly, but the way Allen's playing, I can see why they made the call. I understand the call.
I just listen. I 100% understand the call. I totally get the call. It's just I'm just not plus, I guess the fact it's early in the season, but these early season games can cost you. I mean, it didn't cost the Washington team last year because of the fact that they won out the division at 7-9. But it could have been a lot easier for them to win division at 8-8 and not have to wait till the last game of the season.
I mean, it's not going to cost them the division, right? I mean, they're going to take the division. What it could cost them is the number 1 seed.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Last game I want to talk about and bring up is going to be the Raiders against the Broncos. 34-24. The Raiders get back on track at 4-2. Get the whole John Gruden crap. We're not going to get into that. Was this a good game? No, honestly, I don't even know why I brought it up. It was 14, not meaningless points, but it was 14 points for Denver in the fourth quarter that kept this game close. I just think it shows the ability of the Raiders to adjust of what happened to them. Derek Carr was 18-27 for 341 and 2 touchdowns. I mean, they had a couple big plays to what's his name, Ruggs and Kenyon Drake, who I liked. I like Kenyon Drake a lot. Actually, I liked him for the Giants. I'm just more impressed that the Raiders, with all the turmoil going on, I honestly didn't think they were going to win this game because of everything that they had going on during the week, but they did, man. I mean, it
was on the road as well, wasn't it? It was in Denver, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I didn't think there was any way they were going to win this game, to be honest.
No, I mean, it was a win they needed. With all the turmoil they've had this week, it's winning cures all. Derek Carr was phenomenal. Was it 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 18 for 27 for 341 yards?
Yeah.
On the road in a game where they needed their players to step up and show, hey, this hasn't affected us. We can still go. We can still go and win games.
Oh, I agree.
Really great performance from them. I mean, Teddy helped them out with 3 interceptions, which is most unusual for Teddy Bridgewater, by the way. He was 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions on the day.
Yep.
Boy, did Denver need a new quarterback. But don't worry, they got Drew Lock.
Can they trade for Daniel Jones and we'll take Teddy?
Yeah, I'd take that swap any day of the week. Great win for the Raiders. Really, really well done to them. They're 4-2 and they're alive and kicking in that division.
And that's all that matters.
Draft, baby. Yeah.
Of course, everyone knows that means we are going to be closing out the show, and we're going to go with Dom's final thoughts here at NFL Talk from Across the Pond and Back. And I want something exciting, Don. I want something big. I want something spectacular. I know you've been working on this all day. You've had the brain maturating something in there. It's marinating. It's going to be stupendous. I'm waiting.
Yeah, I'm waiting for a brainwave. You built me up.
I always build you up just to knock you down.
I wish you wouldn't because it never ends well.
No, it never does.
two quick fire ones to start you off.
Okay.
Jimmy G is back from injury. Trey Lance is apparently injured. But where do you roll if you're the 49ers right now?
I go back to Jimmy G. Trey Lance isn't ready.
Yeah, 100% agree. And I think you're still in with a shout of picking up wins against non-division teams, certainly, and giving yourself a shout of the postseason. 100% Jimmy G. I'm with you there.
That was a good one, see?
There you go. Second one, quick fire. Cam is now vaccinated, ready to play, ready to rejoin the league. Do you take a punt on him if you're a team, and if so, which one and where?
If I am the New York Giants, I sign Cam Newton. I have been saying sign Cam Newton now for I don't know how many weeks now. I mean,
since he was released.
I've been saying sign Cam Newton.
You said it on the first one after the release.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm still with that. Sign Cam Newton, man. I'm glad that he's vaccinated, but I think I mean, he's not the Cam that he was 7 years ago, but he is an NFL quarterback. He can make the NFL throws. I think he's going to be more of a pocket passer coming back. I think his skill set in New England did not lend to Josh McDaniels' offense. I think as a typical drop back prototype passer now, I think he could help. I think he can help a team. I think he can get the team some wins.
Agree. I think the other name that sprung to my mind was Washington. We talked about it again at the time.
There's something there. There's something there that Ron Rivera doesn't want him, because Rivera already came out and said he doesn't want him.
He doesn't want him. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I think they could do with him. I don't think Taylor Heineken's done a bad job, but that offense isn't exactly motoring at the moment. The defense is motoring, unfortunately, in reverse for them. But that's another potential spot where you could be.
I had a question for you about because we were talking about UK driving and stuff. When you guys reverse, are you all of a sudden on the right side of the road?
Well, it depends on which way we're reversing and how good we are at it.
Okay, I just wanted to check that. So I'm just curious about these things. You know, there is a culture difference. That's why I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm not very good at reversing, frankly. To be perfectly honest.
Neither is my wife. A quick story. We used to live on top of a hill, and there was a wall behind, because the road kind of split. So you had the front of the house and you had the back of the house, and the back of the house was up on this hill, and there was this big wall that stretched across the back of our of the road, and it was probably maybe about, I would say like a foot off the road. So you would back out of our drive, and you had to be careful not to hit the wall. Every morning, my wife hit the wall, and I would be in the shower because she would leave before me, and you hear, and then. One day I'm in the shower and I don't hear anything. And I said, well, shit, something must be wrong. So I run outside, and honestly, her battery was dead. That's for you, Mrs. Online Big Blue. You know I love you.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure knowing you. And next week will be me and the King of Idiots filling in for Tim, because he will be attending his own. We got
to get Chris back on. We got to do that. We need to have Chris back on.
Yeah, could we do it on a week when the Giants win and the Patriots lose? Although they got the Jets.
Well, that might, then
next week
we may see Chris in September of next year.
Yeah. We said it last week. Who are we playing week 1? But I don't really drive anymore, to be honest with you. I haven't been going to work for a while now because of COVID, but I take the train to work, so I rarely drive anymore, to be fair. But my mate Frosty did once also reverse into his own porch. He was on the drive and he put it in reverse instead of forward, and reversed into his own porch. So my mate Luke will now be enjoying this moment, but Frosty's not an NFL fan, so he won't be listening, so we'll be fine. But anyway, we digress. So I think, Cam, I suspect could well be back in the league.
I hope he is. And you know what, to your friend Frosty, who doesn't listen to us, screw you. And we're going to close it out right here. That was Dom that said it, not me. And again, this is Tim and Don from NFL Talk from across the pond and back. Hopefully we have a new listener in Mr. Frosty. He's the snowman that we all love and enjoy. Don, we'll see you next week. This was fun as always, and have a good day.